Good morning, everyone. I'm here at Mack Industrial Factory that builds Mack trailers and flatbeds. This is their facility here. I just checked in with shipping and receiving. I've got 3 trailers to pick up that are stacked that are going back to Oregon. Look at these dollies, or look at these axles. Basically, the frames and the trailers get built around these things, and they come this way, and then they, have all this framing material over there, and they obviously weld them, aluminum weld them, and then they put them together, and there you go. I got a couple trailers. So that's how trailers are made, or here is where the trailers are made. Trucks lined up to pick up of them, a bunch of them. In some cases, you got just the material that needs to be tarped up. Like this gentleman here is getting the frames, heading someplace in the parts, and then he's strapping them down and then tarping them down so they're safe and ready for the road. I'm going to be picking up specifically flatbeds that are complete, so 53-foot spread axle flatbeds that are going to be stacked together, and I'm going to basically strap them together with big, huge, heavy-duty straps, and then we're going to transport them on the way. I do believe those are going to be my trailers. He's bringing in the line here. Looks like they're stacked together. Obviously they're not strapped. I bet you he's positioning them and leaving them right there. The upper one is a 4-axle. Then you got the middle one, 2-axle spread. And then I bet you the lower one is either a 4 or a 2-axle as well. So we'll see when he gives me the go-ahead. Maybe that's fine. He's gonna come out here. This is the yard goat guy. And we'll double check on the numbers and connect to them. Here we are, ladies and gentlemen. These are the ones that supposedly are going to come out to Portland. They're stacked pretty high, so they're 13.6 high, but anyway, really not much they can do with loading anything on top of them or around them. There's some spacing in between, that could be used for, I don't know, somewhat of a hot shot load or partial load or something. But they're really not a way to load anything else on top of these and make use of them unless you unstack them. In this case, I'm not going to be doing that. I'm going to be strapping 6 straps or maybe more, and then securing them so that way they could be safe on the road, and then heading out to Troutdale. Landing gear up. Now we connect the electrical and the airlines, and yeah, we're going to do that with one hand. Try to put the phone down here. Considering the size of these monster trailers and most containers, you have to actually take the strap and throw it above the 13.6 and wrap it around. But you need to make sure you hold it so it doesn't fly off. Generally about 4 feet, 5 feet. This particular load doesn't take more than 6 straps, but we're going to overdo it. We're going to do probably 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, or 8 straps, just in case. Can't go wrong with a little extra support. But also, I'll show you later, at the very end and at the very beginning and somewhere in the middle, I'm also going to strap in between the rails so it stays put as well. Yeah. Bounce one off. Just show you guys the strapping process. This is one strap at the very beginning, goes all the way around. We're going to loop it between the rails. Second strap here on the other side. Third strap, these are all 5,500 pounds. Fourth strap, fifth strap, sixth strap, and seventh strap. And if you see the last strap, it's actually looped between here, looped inside there, and looped at the very top. You might want to know, or you're probably wondering, how did I get all the way up there? Well, I had to climb this stack of trailers and feed it through that hole up there, and also feed it through the back side the same way, so that way it's looped on this side and looped up there, and then obviously strapped here. And so you want to make sure that, of course, the straps are flat, and then we got the ratchets to bring in, so that way everything is tied securely. And so, yeah, for every strap that's loose, I got to bring a ratchet, which is, these are the rolling ratchet. And so you just a track system underneath here. And here we go. Now we're all set for this strap because it's secured on the other side. So I used to own one of these trailers. They're super expensive nowadays. This is a drop axle, 53 aluminum. There's a second, and this guy is not going to need it on this side because it basically has the buckle on this side. So we're going to feed it through, just like in all the other loads, and then do that there with it. And then we're going to put a ratchet strap on that side. This guy, because it's on here, yes, this one's going to need it. So for this guy, we got one right here nearby. All right, and then we got two more that we need to adjust. So here we are once again, the last strap in the bunch. We're going to try to feed it through the ratchet wheel as best as we can. We've already got 6 straps in there. So we tighten it. Then we get our bar and tighten it as tight as we can get it. Preferably they want about, I'm not sure pressure, but the way I do it is by tension. I look at the strap and I look and see how tight it is, and then I make sure that it's completely secure and not going to flap in the wind, and it's going to hold the load properly. And then on the ground, I also tighten it. So anyway, that's pretty tight in there. I'll show you. You can hear the tightness of the strap. You can see the ratchet is completely locked. That's pretty tight all the way up. Second one, same thing. You hear that? Third one, that's tight. We're gonna retighten that a little bit. This one looks a little loose, and that may actually shift en route. This one is ratchet. And then we're gonna tuck in, by the way, tuck in these guys so they're not gonna flap in the wind. Same here with the 5th one or 6th one, 6th strap. And then the 7th strap, it's tight. Could be a little tighter, you hear that? That doesn't make a lot of noise. So I guess I'm going to tighten that last strap there. But that's kind of what it looks like, the trailer from behind. I'm going to do a couple more things with it, and you'll see by the end of the loading process, I'll put in some more supports for it. But generally, this is about it. I'm putting 7 straps because, well, I got one strap that's kind of frayed, so I want to make sure I got a 7th one in there. All right, you guys, so I'm at the Pilot truck stop, I'm sorry, the Flying J truck stop here with these 3 sets of flatbeds, the 53-foot aluminum beds that you see here behind me. And the reason why I'm here, I just went through a scale. Further out there, there's a scale to see the total weight capacity and how much I can actually add on top of the GVRW of these flatbeds. So if I want to put additional weight on here, I want to know how much I'm capable of additional weight to haul per axle. So I'm going to be going in there and buying the fuel ticket, or the weight ticket, and then measuring up my complete weight as we sit, and then estimating the approximate additional weight that I can put on this load here to head on over to Oregon. 11,560 on the steers, 19,000 on the drives, and 21 on the trailer. So that gives us the ability to add at least 12,500 pounds. Hey guys, we're here at a rail factory supplier with a lot of rebar and metals. We're going to try to stick as much as we can between these trailers so that way we can make this transport to Portland. We're here positioning ourselves. We're going to have to unstrap some of the straps and restrap a little later on. Prongs, they call these. We're going to load them up there and hopefully strip them in place without catching anything. But anyway, these are going to go in between the frame and position right in the center so that way I can strap them down. And then we're going to do some more up on top. Now we had to, earlier we had to unstrap everything and restrap everything just for these pieces right here that fit underneath the frame of the flatbed, the middle flatbed, that is. So these pieces are about 1,200 pounds, maybe 1,500, and so they're positioned clearly underneath here. They're for railroad tracks and whatever they need to be used for. I'm not really sure all those things, but anyway, they're sitting up here and, you know, strapped as well. Got them all tied with 5,500 pound 4 straps, and then everything else is strapped back on and tied together, and the trailer's reconfigured and pre-tripped, and we're ready to hit the road and head on to Houston, Texas now. All right, you guys, so we're in Whitewater, California. We made it through Texas, New Mexico, Arizona, and we are stopped at a rest area with this load here in Whitewater, California. We're just doing a pre-trip or post-trip or in-between trip inspection. As you have noticed, we have traveled quite extensively to get here. We're heading still north. We're about 100 miles from Los Angeles. This load is done just well over the last however many miles, but we've got a couple concerns, and we've taken adjustments to make certain that we have peace of mind. One concern is these wheels, these tires seem to be inching closer to the edge, and the reason for that is simply put the fact that the truck always leans to the right because the road is always slanted to the right. And being high-centered like so, that bed up there keeps putting pressure this direction. And so somehow, because this is aluminum bed, these wheels don't grip very well, and so they tend to shift constantly this way. You know, as the road is slanted this way, the weight of the axles and the weight of the bed itself leans more to the right, and so somehow these, you know, these tires seem to slip or slide slightly, vibration and all that, slightly to the right, causing a little bit of a, as you can see, a little bit of a traction this direction. So when we left, I was able to put my fingers in between here. I added this particular strap on top of what it was here, and as you can see, the strap is pushed quite a bit out on both sides. That means that the actual axle is shifted quite a bit this way. So to counter that, what we've done is, well, we're going to leave these straps in place, obviously to secure, to block, but we've added these additional counter 3,500 pound, I guess, straps that are connected at the top over there and pulling that direction, so I can show you what that means. By the way, it's 75 degrees out here in California compared to what we were just. Anyway, here's one 3,500 pound strap that's wrapped on the frame at the top there, and then we've had a second strap here that goes around the wheel well, as you can see right there, holding this pressure, so it does not allow it to continue going that way. As you can see here, here's the difference between where the tire sits on this side
Look at that spacing. And where the tire sits on the other side. So in addition, as you've seen earlier, we've countered the front with enough strapping so that way the unit does not slide this way. We've looped it around and it's secured and tight, and you know, we might want to tighten this up. So there we go. We tighten that again. That means that that trailer is secured up there, and all the momentum forward is locked from its coming this direction. We got 3,500 pounds of pressure here on both sides. That's 6,000 pounds. These guys are holding it. This guy's holding it. All these other ones are holding it. I'm just only concerned about the axle on the other side shifting that direction. By the way, this other load here, the steel beams are doing just fine. These straps are really super well and strong. But that said, we're in, like I said, in Whitewater, California here at the rest area, doing a in-between trip inspection on my load, checking out the upper trailer, making certain that stays put. You know, everything shifts en route. Everything shifts as you travel, and you want to make sure that you check everything every now and then. As you see the strap over there, it's a little slanted. It ended up shifting a little bit. But here we go. We got around the wheel well. This particular strap holding pressure that direction, so that way it does not continue shifting this. And this here strap will block it, but again, it's not perfect because it keeps on shifting, right? So it's definitely not going to slide off, considering the counter straps that are holding it. Generally, I use chains, but the customer is not allowing us to use chains on these beds. So for that matter, our straps should do the trick. That said, we are leaving now that we've taken a little break in California, and we should be stopping in Los Angeles, northern Los Angeles, and then continuing our way up north.
Yeah, we're finally on I-5. It's so nice to see I-5 southbound, even though we're going down the Grapevine here at 6-7% downgrade and heavy amounts of traffic for about 10 miles. It's limiting us to 35 miles an hour. Yes, I am using my Jake brake finally, but we got 1, 2, 3, 4 lanes of traffic on I-5 going northbound. Believe it or not, we're going downgrading the Grapevine right now at you know, about 45 miles an hour. I'm going to increase my Jake brake adjustment here. I just did, but it's nice to be on I-5 finally. I've been all over, you know, we're talking about 80, 90, 70, we were on 9, we were on various other, Oklahoma, Nebraska, you know, Texas, Arizona, we did Idaho, we did Montana, we did Colorado, and here we are back on I-5, the I-5 corridor, the famous Grapevine downgrade we're coming down onto right now, and traffic is piling up, so we're going to try to move over to get around, even though we're not really supposed to get out of this lane. People are slowing down for no reason whatsoever, and I'm going to try to get past these trucks, but congestion here on the Grapevine. As I was saying, here we are, runaway truck ramp. And there's the, if you can see the famous I-5 line of traffic down below at the bottom of the hill. So as we're navigating here with these slower trucks, we have to decrease our speed to keep up with the speed of traffic, because we're really not supposed to move out of this lane. But I had to merge over because those other trucks were really, really slow. So I was coming down 45, even though the instruct, you know, speed limit here is restricting traffic on this lane to 35. However, if you're lighter, you can get around a little faster, even with your Jake brake, 35 is very, very slow, even on the Grapevine. On a wet, cold day, on ice, frozen, or where there's obstacles in the way, that's different. Like this guy here, he's illegally passing, and I was doing the same thing just briefly, but then I decided that if I'm gonna pass and it's not worth it. And then there's a police officer coming down the hill. He will actually pull the vehicle over, and there goes the fine. So it's not worth speeding up, even though you can, which I can, but unfortunately the ticket costs more than most of these loads sometimes. So that said, just slow down, stay in the lane, don't get out of lane, stay with the traffic, slow down, and you'll get to the bottom of it shortly, as every other truck does the same. By the way, on the side of downgrading using Jake brake, when you come down all these hills and mountains like we do from Oregon to California, and Colorado has some hills as well, it's never advisable, it's never recommended, and almost everybody teaches the same thing: don't use Jake brake on ice, on black ice, on snow. Don't use Jake brake. It basically causes a slip of your transfer, and it could cause the vehicle to slide off the road. So always use your brakes as best as you can, and control your speed, and manage to be in traffic without actually having to slow down and speed up and do all that mumbo jumbo stuff that you got to do. And of course, depend on your distance and on your spacing. As you can see here, there's a number of trucks on the side of the road that we just passed. And they, either pulling down to cool down their brakes, or they have some mechanical issues. But give yourself some space every time you pass these guys, so that way, you don't actually have a catastrophe. Most of the time the drivers are coming out to actually check their equipment or whichever, and they might get in the way of the traffic. So giving each other space, and leaving yourself enough space to escape, in case. By the way, you can't smell it, but I can. I smell rubber like crazy right now, and that tells me that the trucks, or in the clutch, by the way, clutches and rubber is very keen here in this brakes as well. Clutches, brakes, and rubber you'll smell coming down from the Grapevine, and that's generally either flats, a lot of transmission issues, or brakes cooling down. So as soon as you come down from the Grapevine here, from Tejon Ranch down into Lamont, California, you can take a sniff of all the trucks leaving behind their odor. So yeah, we're doing 65 here, and we're on the bottom of the Grapevine. We've got lots of hills still to go through, but I am so happy we're back on I-5. This is the I-5 corridor. I'm used to this all day long, and this is a straight shot, about 800, 900 miles to Portland. So we made it to Corning, California, south of Redding, California, and we're just about 43 miles from Redding right now in Red Bluff. The weather here is quite a bit foggy. Obviously the weather from up north is colder, and southern weather, California weather, mixes together with the northern weather and creates moisture. And so we got fog up here in Corning, northern Corning, quite a bit of sporadic fog, sometimes very, very heavy, and sometimes kind of loose like it is right now. I can see maybe 200, 500, maybe 500 feet sometimes, 200 sometimes ahead, and sometimes I gotta slow down to like 35, 45 miles an hour because the fog moves in, or it's so dense it's very hard to see 100 feet or 50 feet in front of you. Got all, you know, lights on and everything. But Northern California is known for this area because for this kind of weather pattern, because this area is always in between cold and hot. You know, it's the mixture of two climates, the northern cold coming down, or the warm air from the Californian region moving on up. So as they kind of intermingle, they produce a lot of moisture, and that moisture creates snow, ice, fog, rain quite a bit. And so higher we go, or northern we go, more precipitation we're going to find. But considering it's foggy right now, it just tells me that it's probably going to be just fine up north. I know Oregon is going through some blizzard freeze right now, further up northern Oregon area from Eugene on to, I guess, Seattle. But southern Oregon should be okay. And so here it is. We're, you know, the I-5 corridor, and it is, you know, very December-like weather. And so we're continuing our route to make this delivery. The trailers we've got, the 3 trailers stacked, are going to be delivered today in Oregon. And so that would complete this trip and on to our next trip. Stay tuned. We're in Troutdale, Oregon. Finally arrived with these dollies, these trailers out from Oklahoma, Davis. We brought them, but we still got to make this delivery with the steel. That'll be tomorrow. But we're home here in Oregon with the trailers. As you see, it's quite a bit of cold weather here. They have a major breeze. Well, there's a, I guess, a blizzard, has been, and freeways have been locked up, so most of the trucks are grounded. But we have made it here, and we're waiting now for pickup or for the option of delivery. And all the stores, considering the holidays, are closed, so the customer's drop-off site is not available until tomorrow. So we'll be having to park here at the TA truck stop to wait until tomorrow, and then make the delivery with the steel down below, and then drop off the trailers at TNT Trailers, which is literally on the other side of that little hill right there. We're in Troutdale nearby, but we can't drop the trailers off until we drop off that steel. So we drop that steel in Northwest Portland, and we come back to Troutdale and drop off these trailers. We're here unloading right now. We're taking down the inner between framed steel that was located between the two top flatbeds, and we should be good here in the next 5-10 minutes. Everything looks good. The delivery of this partial load is complete now once they take off the other 2 beams or 3 beams that are located on there. And then we're going to go deliver the trailers. But we had to unstrap, obviously, partially, and then we got to restrap everything back to get to those loads. We got to Troutdale. We unstrapped all the straps. We're going to rewrap them and package them so we can use them for the next trip. The trailers are going to remain here unstrapped at the delivery. They signed off on it, and we're on to the next load. Here we are, disconnecting the trailer, the lower of the landing gear here. First, is blasting here like crazy, but this is, after all, Troutdale, Oregon, and of course torrential rain doesn't help. So even though it's not -20, it still feels extremely cold when you're wet. That's part of the job. Anyway, landing gear's down. What we're going to do, in addition to cranking it a little bit, we're going to lower the airbags before we disconnect. So, yeah, that's normally what
completely unstrapped. There's one strap in the back I'm going to still have to pick up over here. That's just loose. Now we're going to disconnect the glad hands, right? We're going to take the glad hands off because it doesn't need in here. We're going to take the electrical off. And now we're going to reposition my glad hands in place and then come back and disconnect the trailer from the truck, or the truck from the trailer. I don't think I've ever showed, but my fifth wheel release is it's a typical handle that actually you have to pull this way and out in order to release. Most fifth wheels you just pull out on the handle. That's the jaws that clip on the pin. This particular one you pull upwards and then out in order to actually make it work. So here we go. This is my handle. Pull forward, out, and then you lock it in place. That way it's open. Now the jaws, if you look underneath, I don't know if you can see, the jaws should be open. So now the trailer is free from the, it's no longer coupled to the pin, to the fifth wheel, that is the plate. The jaws are open, and now we can pull forward. Another trip.